Anybody here? Anybody here? I'm sure this is working now. It's telling me I've got not a great connection, although it's looking like the stream's working, which is something, I suppose. Hi there, if you can hear me, would you type hello, please? Anybody there? Hello, hello. Hello. If anyone can hear me, type hello. I'll give it a minute for a few of you to come in. Hi there, Russian bot. Hiya. Hi, Emma. Oh, thank God. Do you know, I've been trying to do this since 8 o'clock. It's cut me off every single time. Every time. Can you hear me all right? It's telling me the stream is not a great connection, but at least it seems to be working. Boy, have I got news for you. This is going to be really, really brilliant. Thanks, Emma. Right, today I've thanks Russian bot. For the last week, the best friend I've got in the world, that I thought was going to die, she's been in hospital. They took her in with a respiratory infection a week ago. She literally, I hope to God that she sees this now, because she should be joining us in the chat. As should everybody else. I did say I'd be on at 8 o'clock, and I've told about 50 or 60 people. All the same people that I'm hoping are going to turn out for the protest a week on Saturday. Right, so, friend of mine, she's been in hospital for a week. She's literally been starved. They've had her in a room on her own with windows that wouldn't open. She started to panic because she really did believe that they were trying to kill her. They were injecting her with things, they were sneering at her, they were laughing at her, they were laughing behind her back, making her feel really, really uncomfortable. It was then that she started to feel terrified. They were giving her tablets, they wouldn't tell her what they were. So she started to pocket them, she wouldn't eat the tablets. They were injecting her nearly hourly with something that she still hasn't found out now. And I got her home yesterday because I'm 100% sure that if we hadn't got her out of that hospital, she wouldn't be here now. She was 6 stone. 6 stone. She lost 1 stone and a couple of pounds in a week. They've literally told her that she'd got COVID. Hi, Caroline. Hiya, darling. I'm talking about Mandy. I picked her up yesterday from hospital. They've tried the hardest to kill her in there. They've been injecting her hourly with, she believes, with morphine. Not morphine, sorry, with warfarin. Rat poison is what warfarin is, as you know, probably. And why would they give you warfarin or rat poison for breathing complaints? It just doesn't make any kind of sense to me. Yeah, that's what she said, Emma. That's just what she said. So the nurses were absolute bitches in there. My friend has literally been listening to old people crying out for help night after night after night. Yeah, I know it stops blood clots, but it does, warfarin stops blood clots, but that's for a hypoxic type injury, blood clots, that you would expect from, well, not from COVID or not from pneumonia, although they have added blood clots to the COVID symptoms now. There is a huge growing list of symptoms. So, just a couple of things. Normally when you go into hospital, you have your notes on the end of the bed with, you know, with your medicine and your, all about you written on the notes. They had those hidden from her. They wouldn't show them to her. Nobody's got any Wi-Fi in there. So you can't Google anything. They won't let anybody watch the television. Now, I'm not 100% sure whether this is happening in all hospitals around the country, but I do know for 100% that it's happening in Blackpool Vic, because another friend of mine that was very, very lucky to leave there with her life, and I won't mention her, but you know who you are. You'll be. She's probably listening. She's got cancer. She's living with cancer, and she was in hospital a couple of months ago, where the nurses. She said it was one particular nurse all the time, which was what my other friend said. There was two in particular that were very, very nasty. This other lady who messaged me today, she told me that they gave her a boiling hot water enema and literally cooked her insides. She was in agony. She was screaming, and they told her she had to go for a life-saving op instantly. She needed to go down to theatre. Another one that was terrified because she got the vibe that something wrong was going on. She'd seen old people dying. They weren't feeding anybody. They're literally leaving people that haven't got the strength to feed themselves to die. And that's always been the case for the last 20 years that I know of. We owned a nursing home, and, you know, if ever any of our residents were poorly, we knew that if we sent them to hospital, they weren't coming home. They just weren't coming home. Doctor's advice was to, regardless of how poorly, stop feeding them, take them off the medication and only give them a drink if they want one. That's inhumane to me. That's diabolical. So this is what my friend has been seeing all week. She's literally been keeping an eye out on what's going on as best she can, even though the nurses didn't like it one bit. No, they don't care at all. They've turned into cold, heartless murderers, literally. And they're complicit in what is going on. Whether the nice ones have been corrupted by the nasty ones and they're just frightened of losing their jobs, it's absolutely terrifying. The fear that people are in of going to hospital in the first place is enough to make people poorly. The stress of that itself can put you in a situation where a panic attack, a heart attack, something of that description. Yeah, they are, absolutely. So the other lady I spoke to who had the enema up her backside, they burnt her inside. They literally burnt her inside. She refused to go to theatre for this operation that they said she needed. This is many, many weeks later, and this lady's still alive. She got out of the hospital. She's living with cancer, and thank God she got out of there when she did. The same nurse that put the red hot boiling water up her back passage, a couple of days later, gave her some morphine and thought she was so out of it, she went in her handbag and took her purse out. My friend woke up, she wasn't asleep, opened her eyes and caught this bitch nurse taking money out of her purse. This is what is going on. We all need to sue, and we all need to make serious complaints. Now, my friend that came home yesterday, she is very, very poorly still, but the minute she walked out of the hospital, she could breathe. She said, I can't believe it. I couldn't get my breath in there. We've been out here a minute and I can literally breathe now. Now, she's also, my friend, funny enough, got a sensitivity to her phone. When she holds her phone in front of her face, it gives her tingling, the same pressure that I get in my eyes. She's sensitive to the Wi-Fi, so she can feel it like me. So we've got her, who's been injected with God knows what all week. They hid her notes from her. They wouldn't weigh her when she left. Now, tomorrow, there's actually, this is Health Watch. healthwatchblackpool.co.uk. You can complain to these people about what's going on, but I think I've told you before, my ex-partner works in a shop, and a friend of hers is coming out of retirement as a police officer to head up the COVID-19 murder squad in the Victoria Hospital. So this is absolutely 100% real. Now, I've been in there. I was in there yesterday. There's a weird satanic vibe is the only way I can explain it to you. The nurses, everybody in there is looking at you from there. They've all got masks on. It's very intimidating, although they know they don't need to wear them. It's absolutely clear that the nurses, the doctors, and the rest of the staff in the hospital know that this thing is not real. The injuries they're seeing are altitude sickness injuries, like as if you dropped somebody off on the top of a mountain and they hadn't acclimatized. They're literally dying from no oxygen in the blood. Now that's not a virus. That is not symptomatic of any kind of. I mean, when you've got pneumonia, you get tiny breaths in. Of course, you've got your white blood cell counts up there because your body's trying to fight off the infection. All these people that are going into hospital with the same symptoms. Yeah, 5G, exactly. That's exactly. Oh, sorry about this. That's my friend Mandy trying to ring me. She obviously doesn't know that I'm live. No, Mandy, stop! Oh, I'm really sorry, people. I'm sorry. If I answer it, I think it's going to cut you all off. I can't answer her. So, yeah. So after the lady with the boiled insides, that's still alive, another friend of mine who owns a health shop uptown has messaged me today and told me that a friend of hers that works at the national the registry office, deaths and births, there hasn't been a birth registered since March, apparently. She registered the first baby that she'd registered in a long time yesterday. Can you all still hear me all right? Because I don't know if Mandy's cut you off. Somebody type hi if you can still hear me. I think she knows what's going on. Are you still there, yeah? Carol-Ann, can you hear me okay? Brilliant, thanks, love. Right, so this lady that works at the registry office has told us that the first birth that she's registered for months was yesterday. And it was a baby that was 6 months old. Now, all the others are thousands of deaths. They're in single figures, the number of people that have died of anything other than anything to do with COVID. Now, they've got people with pneumonia, they've got people with heart disease, all the things that you die of when you're old, in your old age. But even though they were obviously in there and they've been dying of these things for a long time, they've still got them all there as COVID. So this lady now is well aware that something very, very sinister is going on. And she works for the births and deaths. So we could just be getting somewhere now. She said the council workers are all aware that something very, very wrong is happening. It's looking like people are waking up in huge numbers. So we're talking about we're talking about organising a protest. Well, I won't call it a protest, I'll call it a get-together with signs and lots of talking. Not this Saturday, but the Saturday after, on Stanley Park in Blackpool at the bandstand, which is where we want to meet at 12 o'clock. The bandstand at Stanley Park at 12 o'clock. Not this Saturday, but the Saturday after. Are you all still there? It's just told me that the stream's gone down and I've got very, very weak signal. Can you all still hear me okay? Everybody still there? Hello, hello. The one thing that's bothering me, and I think's very, very odd, is the births and deaths thing, and no births being registered, because we know, well, I know, UCC law, the Uniform Commercial Code, is something that was the law before maritime. It was maritime law, the law of the sea, before it became the law of the land. Now, if you're born in Britain or the United States, anywhere where the Queen is the head of the Commonwealth, or she's their Queen, when you're born, for every pound that you weigh, you're assigned a pound of gold. Unfortunately for me, I only weighed £5, but £5 of gold would be great for me, you know. And yeah, remind me again, Russian bot, of the 5 eyes. Remind me again. I'm just wondering now, the Federal Reserve and obviously the Mint here, all these babies that have been being born since COVID, right? Really? An ounce? Can you imagine then? I mean, £5 worth, it's a thing. It's worth not ignoring, obviously. So what is happening to the kids who are being born that have got no birth certificates? Because when you're registered at birth, yeah, Australia, Canada, United States and the UK, New Zealand, these places, you're given your gold and then the Queen takes it from you and you never find out about it again until you find out, like I'm telling you now, that you can contact the Federal Reserve and you can get the numbers from the top of your birth certificate and you can put them into New Earth. I tell you whose it is. It's Sasha Stone. Sasha Stone. If you go on his website, it's his website. It's not New Earth, Natural. Bloody hell. Do you know? I apologise for not writing all this down, but I did this in a real hurry, and I went out for some tobacco, and on my way back, a baby bird got run over. This was at 10 to 8, and it was stuck on the road, and its mum was nearly being killed by cars trying to save it. So I pulled my car into the middle of the road, got the baby bird, peeled it off the road, put it in the bushes and left it there with its mum. And it was heartbreaking. But at least its mum knows now that it's not alive and she's not going to get herself killed trying to save it. So that was at 10 to 8. And as I said, I told everybody I was doing this at 8 o'clock. When I tried to do this at 8 o'clock, I couldn't do it. It would not allow me in any way, shape or form to go live. 20 minutes it took me to do all the things and so anyway, here I am. But you contact the Federal Reserve and you can find out exactly how many people are trading on your numbers on your birth certificate and how much money it's accrued. They reckon that I just love animals, Russian, but I can't help myself. I'm an absolute animal lover because when I was a child, my dad was a Freemason and he was very cruel and He used to kill me pets and make me eat them. Not raw, thankfully. But yeah, his plans didn't work to ruin my empathy, to get rid of the empathy. His plans had the absolute opposite effect because I am an empath, which would really piss him off if he was still alive. Anyway, yeah, so the cruelty, the absolute cruelty that's going on in the hospitals is just beyond anything that people can imagine. My friend also said that, and one of the nurses said to her, the doctors all got a pay rise, all we got is a clap from the public. So believe me, that's the attitude of these dancing nurse bitches on TikTok. That is the attitude. We didn't get a pay rise, so why should we be giving a shit? That is the way that they think. And if one nice person, I mean, when we had the nursing home, we used to get lovely people coming in. You'd get a really nice young girl who, you know, she wanted to make that her job, and she loved old people. Don't take long at all for the rest of the bitches that work for you, the nasty people, to turn that nice girl into a horrible person like they are. I absolutely lost count of the number of people that I had to sack because they were literally taking the old people's gold off their fingers when they were asleep. Absolutely robbing them blind, stealing out of their handbags, stealing the sleeping medication, everything. And when you get vulnerable people, whether it be in a nursing home, a hospital, a rest home, wherever, those kind of horrible people with no morals, no scruples and no principles appear. Believe me, they appear. It's life, it's absolutely vile, but that is what is occurring in the hospitals. That's the top and bottom of it. People are being mismanaged. The lady that was burnt up her back passage was then given some medication that was the wrong medication, which they tried to deny. They denied that they nearly killed her with the tablets. Now, I've probably told you all before, the third biggest killer of people in the world, underneath heart disease and cancer, is doctors and the mistakes that they make. Now, whether they're intentional or not, who knows? But they absolutely add up to killing people. And my friend lost count of how many people, dead bodies, she saw being wheeled backwards and forwards in the week that she's been there. This is savage. Seriously savage. People are not dying from illness. They're dying of starvation. These old people were screaming for a drink, for food, and they were being denied that. My friend went mad. She went absolutely mad. She threw a chair at the window because she knew what was going on. When she did that, she heard the nurses say, well, if she can't comply, she can't eat either. Now, my friend's 6 stone, as if she can afford not to eat. It's absolutely vile what went on, vile. The other poor lady, with the burnt lady, I told you she fell asleep, caught the nurse, the same nurse, 3 times, burning her, giving her the wrong medication, and then stealing money out of her handbag. Luckily, she made a complaint, and as far as I know, I think that girl lost her job. But all the girls that were on Ward 8 in that hospital, that looked after, that tortured and persecuted my best friend, need to watch their backs, because I am going to make sure that every single one of them answer for what they've done to her. Every one of them. I mean, if any of you have got any horror stories like that to tell, I've got messages from all over the world, from people telling me that their relatives have not died from COVID-19. They've died from neglect, but they can't prove it. They've got no proof. But with so many complaints, surely. I mean, I've heard 3 horror stories in the last 24 hours. Before that, for weeks, I've been hearing absolute horrific stories for weeks. I've just been to see a friend and there was a girl stood at the door talking to her. Excuse me, she was pregnant. She'd been in for a scan today. They wanted to inject her with something. And they wanted to keep her in. She only went for a scan. What the hell's going on? They're not registering any births. So are the babies being born and not being registered, or are the babies dying from COVID? COVID. I really don't know. I've just absolutely bewildered. And now there's so many videos coming out that are only out for an hour or 2. This is what is petrifying. Why are the likes of Dr. Rashid Buttar, Dr. Mikovic, all of these doctors, hundreds and hundreds of doctors, coming out in groups and saying, this is not a virus, this is not what you're being told. They're being murdered, they're being silenced, they're being sacked. Why? That has to be the $1 million question. Yeah, you can't do it though, Emma. You can't record them. I said that to my friend. Video what you can hear coming from that staff room. The whooping and hollering and the screaming and laughing when people are dying all around. Please try and video that. You can't video it because you can't get Wi-Fi. You cannot get a signal in that hospital. Now, you can't watch TV either. What? You can't watch the TV in the hospital. You can't use your phone. You can't get a signal. You can't take a photograph. And you can't Google. Why? Unless they do not want you to see and get out of the hospital videos and information about what's going on. And the bouncers that are on the door are also complicit, because I spoke to 2 of them myself today. They are complicit. This is something that's gonna take the whole of us to stand up and say, no more. We are not taking this. We are not having this. Now, I don't know whether my friend's in this chat or not. I can see her there and she's left me 4 messages. That girl, along with 2 others, are willing to speak and tell their truths at this. It's not a protest. It's a meeting. They're both willing, 3 of them, probably a lot more by the time comes, to stand up on a stage with a microphone and tell their stories literally 500 yards away from that hospital, which will be amazing. Never mind banging spoons on a Wednesday or a Thursday or whatever night it was and clapping for them. It's about time they heard some home truths through the windows. Oh, that's great. That's great. Thanks, Ellie. That's good. My friend's on. She's watching. Brilliant. Tell your mum to type hi for me, Ellie. Fantastic. Oh, she hasn't got a YouTube channel. Oh dear. Right, okay. So, I've lost my thread. Can you all hear me still? It's giving me the request is missing a valid API key, whatever that means. Can everybody else still hear? Request is missing a valid API key. Type hi if you can hear me. Hello, Emma? Can you hear me? Yeah. Oh God, I don't know. I think the stream's gone down. I think the stream's gone down. Has the stream gone down, folks, or are we still all right? We can hear you. Oh, hiya. Hey, Ellie. So I've just told you Mum's story, and I've explained to the people that are listening that never mind banging and clapping on a Wednesday or a Thursday and banging pans for the NHS. Let's go and stand across the road from the hospital with a microphone and give them some home truths through the window. More importantly than giving them a round of applause. After they complained that they didn't get a pay rise, they only got a round of applause, you know. So, if you're interested in coming to Blackpool, if any of you can get to Blackpool, not this Saturday, but the following Saturday, if we can get there for about 11 in the morning, at the bandstand at Stanley Park, and all meet up there, whatever your gripe with the government, whether it be save the children, end child sex trafficking, in fact, end all sex trafficking, not just the sex trafficking and the murder and torture and rape of children and the adrenochrome drinking, because that is enough to make any normal person sick for a month to even think about that. I mean, you know, that hospital, it's a death trap. My friend, I mean, when you think that if you've got, you know, a lung disease and you're in there because you've got either pleurisy, pneumonia, by the way, she was in there for only hours when they first started to inject her with reams of whatever it was that they were injecting her with. And like I said, they still wouldn't tell her what it was, so she got no answers whatsoever. The windows in her room were glued shut and nailed down. She couldn't even get any fresh air. They were closing the door and telling her the reason they were keeping her in isolation and not letting her look out was because they thought she might have TB. Bullshit. Absolute bullshit. The reason they told her that she had TB was so they could lock her in and she couldn't see what was going on. She's not the only person. I've had many reports this week of just torture, horrific things that are going on. You can't treat people like that. You know, thank God my best mate, she's got spirit. She's only little and she weighs 6 stone. She's lost a stone and some pounds in that fucking butcher shop, supposed to be a hospital, in a week. Now, if we can't raise awareness by, I'm going to video my friend and we'll show you what she looks like. She'll look a lot better in a week and a half when you see her at the protest, believe me. But they've she's skin and bone. They've literally withheld food from her because she was asking questions. Now, that is not right. That is definitely not right. And the fact that you can't take a photograph, you can't Google, you can't do anything to try and save yourself. You can't even watch TV. Now that can only be so that you can't get information. So you've no idea what's going on outside of that bubble. That's disgusting. You know, and the fear that people are in. There is no bigger killer of people than fear. And stress. Stress is a very serious, you know, it can kill you 1,000 ways. You can will yourself to die with stress. It's the quickest killer of people, and it's part of the plan. Part of the plan of the elite with the 5G and the chemtrails. Now, my friend is also, and anybody in that hospital, anybody that's in there, is being deprived of vitamin D, which is essential to anybody that's poorly. Vitamin D is the number one thing that you require to get better. Now, how can you get better in a room with no light, no air getting in, and you know, you're gonna die in that environment, and that is how everybody on that ward was. And thinking about it, they've got the wards all altered so that they're all set up for COVID, which doesn't exist. So what the hell is going on? Anyway, I really don't know what else to tell you all apart from keep your eye open for what's going on. Yeah, the woman in the registry office who was talking about the number of dead people from COVID. Like I say, they're all aware that this is a big hoax and a scam. So it can only, the more people that wake up and the more information that we get out there amongst the likes of us that know this is a bullshit hoax, and the people walking around in the masks, all the mask-tards and the fucking COVID-idiots that are still looking at the floor with a mask on, we can't save them, people. We can't save them. The best information that I've got for you with what I know now is do not accept any injection. None whatsoever. No kind of vaccine at all. Because that will either finish you off very quickly or it will make you susceptible to the next wave of what's coming. Now, Dr. Rashid reckons that, and I think he's right, and he's not the only one, they're destroying the pulse of the earth. The planet has its own vibe and its own pulse. They're putting magnetic frequencies that interfere with the earth's natural pulse. That is going to kill us all. At the moment, apparently, there's so much talk about the 5G and people are so scared and they're asking a lot of questions of the phone companies. They want to know what's going on properly. And the phone companies are not willing to give any answers whatsoever. They'd rather hide behind, oh, the 5G's not up and running yet. No, it's we haven't got 5G yet. Let me tell you, we have got 5G. I've had a meter in this front room. It's off the scale in here. Don't tell me that the 5G is not on, because it is. There might only be Vodafone, E, and there's 3 of them altogether at the moment. There's probably more that are just not advertising. That you can ring up now and ask for 5G and get connected. So don't let anybody tell you that the 5G is not working, because it absolutely is. All you can do is protect yourself by painting your house, the inside, one room or more than one room, with anti-radiation paint so that this stuff cannot cook you. Because that's what it's doing. The injuries that people have got, there's a reason why they're injecting rat poison into people at a fair rate of knots, because they're getting blood clots. The blood clots would also be caused by this oxygen stealing technology that separates your hemoglobin from your hemoglobin and your it destroys your cells. It destroys your cells. It discombobulates your white blood. It makes them spin and burn out. And then your blood can't carry the adequate oxygen to keep you alive. So that's also the reason that when they were giving people oxygen for COVID-19, that they were recovering. They were getting better. You don't get better with a killer virus from oxygen and vitamin C, for God's sake. Come on, people, wake up. It speaks for itself. It's as clear as glass now. As clear as glass. Listen, thanks everybody who tuned in. I love you all. Every one of your support means the world. Now, please, if you can, Blackpool, opposite the hospital at Stanley Park, at the bandstand at 11 o'clock, with whatever you want to protest about. Whatever you want to protest about. The COVID hoax, vaccinate the 1%. Now, there's a good thing. Never mind vaccinating the 99%. Let's vaccinate them, the elite. Pin them down and stick pins in them like what they've been doing to us. It's just, I mean, doctors for truth, you know. All these doctors that are coming out that are being killed, that are being discredited. That has got to be the number one question, the most serious question we can all ask. Why the censorship? Why this censorship? If there was no truth in what people like me are talking about, why would the likes of Google and YouTube and Facebook quieten us all? We're all entitled to an opinion. All they need to say is that they don't believe that opinion's correct. But to actually take your video down is exactly the same as book burning. There's no difference. Burning a book, removing a video, it's exactly the same. You should give grown-up people a choice as to whether they want to listen to something and believe it or not. That's my opinion. Whether you agree with me, I don't know. But I'm going to love you all and leave you, and I shall speak to you very soon. Take care all. Get your houses painted. Protect yourself from the radiation. Take care. Bye. Bye.